Alright, for those of you who are actually following my stream, more look at game development. So in today's little stream, I'm going to be showing off the latest build of Just a Game, World of Serenity, whatever you want to call it. It's a game based upon the book, based upon an MMO that doesn't exist. So it's an MMO based upon a fictitious MMO in a book. But it's a functional MMO that I'm building. Anyway, onward. So in this build, which I've just been calling them by date, so this is the 6-4-13 build, which happens to be every unlucky number there is. 6-4 being my personal unlucky numbers, and 13 being, well, 13. Anyway, for this build, let's just jump right into the code, shall we? So for those of you who followed the 524 build, you'll notice quite a few differences. In here, I've done quite a number of new things. We have an actual preview of your character. I scrapped the original 3-panel design in an older build, and basically what's going to be is in this stage here of development, since you're just picking your class and your race and all that initial stuff, and there's not going to be any customization done, you basically just get a general preview over here. I've also increased the size of the race portraits significantly. They're about 90 pixels now by 90 pixels instead of 60. And I've managed to layer in their names at the bottom. And of course, all these headshots will be replaced by actual proper racial headshots. I've incorporated onto the left side sort of a running tally here. So basically, as you select races, they'll fill up this side. Select classes, they'll fill up this side. And the idea is, since this is only just a general preview and you haven't gone to all the customization, the idea is you can click on each of these different races as they load into here from your selections over here. And they'll fill out this side, which clearly, as you can see, hasn't been fully finished. But you'll see this, you'll be able to click through them and they'll change the central portrait to the race selected over here. Similarly, the classes, when you click on them here, will just layer the basic class armor over whatever the picture is here. So you can sort of like switch between the different sections and sort of see what would a 100% elf thief look like, or 100% elf dancer, or whatever choices you make. I've modified this system down here. I'm still getting this white background here, which I'm trying to get rid of. I'm trying to do the same thing with the grayish background here. But I've actually modified it so now, as you can see, it doesn't distort the entire box, and it just creates a small scroll box inside here. Of course, there'll be more tweaking along the way. Class will be functionally identical to race. The only real difference between class and race is that races add actual stat modifiers. Classes just modify your stat growth. And races, those stat modifiers will be modified by the purity level, which I discussed previously. Classes have no such thing. They just stack on top of each other, and you end up having to pay more and more experience per level. Of course, this system is still working down here. But here, aside from just the pictures being larger and the text being added, there is a new feature that I finally managed to get working. So if you click on one of these gender tokens, yes, all the pictures will dynamically update under race to match with your gender options. Right now I just have placeholders in here, but when I get the art assets done, it'll be one for each and every option here. So you'll actually see all the male race options in this little table here, all the females. As you can see, I've also gotten rid of that little problem with the boxes slightly resizing once you start clicking on them. It wasn't that hard. Though there's an odd bug with these top 3 for some reason. They don't border outline. I don't know why. Good thing they have names, because it makes it easier to see where the problem appears. You can't click off the last one. Oh well, no big deal. It's all work in progress. Of course, down here is the classes like they were before. There's the reroll system. Here's the attribute swap system, which still works just as lovely as before. The rerolls. So for the next build, what I want to get done and working and beautiful and all that is first, there's some behind stuff I'm working on. I'm trying to make sure the races are properly saved to an external database. Well, not external database, an external array. So you have a file listing of all the races you selected. That's a behind the scenes thing. It's not something in the visual interface you'll really see. And of course, the next thing I have to put in is the purity system. I think I'm going to put it over here. Like, as you select the races, there'll be a little drop down on this side, or maybe more logically underneath it, because that'll probably look better, seeing it underneath it. Or maybe I'll actually put it inside of the button itself. Something like that. But the purity selection will be here, and you'll be able to set that. And as you set the options here, it'll limit the options over here. Like if you set to 1 here, there won't be any drop-down options on the other ones because, well, you set it to 1, and everything has to add up to 1. So if you were to set to, say, a half, then the options down here, which can only be, multiples of that was odd. Anyway. And so it'll remove any options that would be physically impossible. Which just basically does a match. Like it says, okay, against the options that I have available, would this be available if you were to add on the ones above it? And that's basically how it'll work. Anyway, that's today's build update. Everything else still works the same as it did before. And I hope you all enjoyed the show. Bye-bye.